This is for Astra. During the company's annual shareholder meeting, a motion was passed for the board to complete a reverse stock split within the next year. This would reduce the amount of shares Astra has. However, it would increase the overall price. This would be used to ensure Astra does not get delisted from the NASDAQ exchange, of which it only has about 4 more months to meet the $1 share
I feel
price
like you
requirement.
called this.
I think I did too.
Yeah, I feel like you called this.
I remember when we talked. It was like week after week of Astra news, and I remember I said
Yeah.
like, "What? Oh, let's see. They're gonna get delisted. They're gonna go below $1. They're gonna delist notice. They got delisted notice. Which is like 180 days to get it. So that's like 6 months, right?
Yep.
I'm like, this is what they're gonna do. They're gonna try to push their their spacecraft engine sales and see if that can push the market up. They did that. Didn't work. Because people who invested in Astra are not looking for spacecraft engines. They're looking for a at-scale launcher.
Yep.
So that's the Launch System 2 rocket, which is, I think, scheduled to come on later this year. And right now, they went through that 6-month period on the delisting. They got an extension for another 180 days. I think we're around like 2 months into that extension. And so pretty much, unless they can get their rocket Launch System 2 launch within the next 4 months, there's been some uptick in their stock price. But, like, I don't see it really. I think there's an uptick around their shareholder meetings. So, like, that usually is not, like, means, like, an uptick around the annual meeting doesn't really mean, like, that's going to be an uptick for the next 4 months. It just kind of means, like, at that certain moment, people decided to, like, buy
They got excited.
shares. But,
yeah.
So they can do this thing called a reverse stock split, which, if you don't know what a reverse stock split is, it's easier to explain a regular stock split first.
Time
Regular
out.
stock
We do not give financial advice.
Yeah, this is not financial advice. I sold my shares of Astra long. I bought shares when they went public. I sold them like a couple months afterwards. Lost like $15 something on them. A stock split is where if you have where a company splits their stock. So if you have one share and they do like a 5-to-1 split, you now have 5 shares. That also means your price of share divides by 5. So if your shares are $5 a piece, and then now it goes to $1 a piece. That's like real simplified, really, really simplified. A reverse stock split is the opposite. So if you have 5 shares, they do a 1-to-5 reverse stock split. You now have 1 share, but the value of your share is multiplied by 5. It's not very much. It's not reverse stock splits are pretty much only done for 2 reasons, and pretty much really only one reason. It's to increase your share price, but one reason could be because you think you want to attract more investors, you think your share price is too low, or you're below the minimum. But either way, you want to get your share price up. It also, I think, to my understanding, it also lowers the voting power of your shareholders because
dilutes it a little bit.
Yeah, because I think it's 1 vote per share for the Class A stock. And then if you have 5, you have 5 shares, you have 5 votes. But if you do the reverse stock split, then if you go the 5 to 1 share, you only have you only have 1 vote now. Which is interesting to note because I mentioned this in the article. If you're, it doesn't really matter what the shareholders, like the public shareholders, did at this meeting. It was going to pass no matter what, because similar to a lot of other tech companies, there are 2 types of shares. There are 2 types of shares. There are Class A shares and Class B shares. Class A shares are publicly tradable on the NASDAQ. You can buy them. Anyone can buy them. Class B shares are currently only held by the 2 founders. That's Chris Kemp and Dr. I'm blanking on his first name, but his last name is London. And those have 10 votes per share instead of 1 vote per share. And there's only like 55 million Class B shares versus like the 100 and some million Class A shares. But when you multiply 55 million by 10, you now have 555 million. 550 million. And pretty much outvotes the rest of the rest of the shareholders, no matter what the option is. The only time I think they didn't vote on they couldn't vote on their compensation packages. But other than that, they can vote on everything else. And of course, they're going to vote for the proposal that was brought forth by the board, instead of against it. So it's very similar. Like Facebook has the same thing. Like it's been criticized about Facebook that Zuckerberg has pretty much de facto control over everything, because even if there was a motion to vote him out of CEO. Like he has enough shares that if everyone voted to vote him out, he can he has a controlling interest, so he can just vote against it and pass.
Yep.
Not saying it's wrong, not saying it's good, just information for what you do with it, how you want to take it.
Well, thanks for the financial advice.
No, this is not financial advice. No financial advice. I'm just stating the facts of how it went. So that can happen. So the reverse stock split can happen anytime before the next annual meeting, but most likely it will happen. Whether or not it will happen will be determined within the next 4 months. So because of that deadline. But yeah,
yeah, you called it, man.
And
so we'll see.
Oh, it's not difficult.